Promotional consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com.
You know what the greatest thing is about the exchange with Scott Spears? Well, not only do they have Scott Spears, but they got all kinds of fabulous guests, too. So tune in. The exchange. Scott Spears. Right here. Hello there, Soup here. Say, if you want to be really entertained, just tune in to The Exchange, starring my good friend Scott Spears, here on this station. You don't see Scott Spears using teleprompters all the time. No, no. He ad-libs everything. Is that okay, Scott?
Hey, Scott Spears along with you on yet another edition of The Exchange, joined today by Charlie Evers, Marianne Michaels, and from the Ohio State University at Marion, Professor Tracy Tilka. Going to get in a good conversation with her as the episode progresses, so let's kick it off today with Charlie Evers and Fascinating Facts.
All right, and one of the facts is that we're heating our homes now in this interim period before it really gets into serious winter. We're using a lot of auxiliary heaters. And one of the best, these little ceramic heaters, and also these new infrareds that do not heat the outer casing, so it's good around with children around, so they don't get burned. And the ceramic heaters have been around now for quite a few years, just little tiny box type things. We've had one for, I bet, 20 years. Still works as good as the day we bought it. But you have to watch very carefully as it gets a little colder and people get more serious about heating. You get into the kerosene fueled heaters and your propane, and this can get a little tricky in a house. You don't want to ever put any of these heaters that really blast the heat out near any bed clothing or clothing of any kind, or even rugs. You got to be very careful. There's so many deaths that occur every winter caused by the misuse of portable heaters. So be mighty careful. But if you can, these, like I say, the ceramic or the infrared heaters do a wonderful job.
I remember when I was young, 3, maybe 4 years old, I got my hand burned on a kerosene heater. Very hot. You really got to pay attention to that.
Some people have actually refueled them, poured kerosene in them in a home, and it didn't result in very good circumstances.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea at all.
Marianne, words of wisdom today.
Well, remember, this is the week that we talk about You Can Do It. And this comes from Heather Turlin. She was the 1960 Women's Marathon gold medalist, and this is what she said. It was a golden year beyond my dreams. I proved you're never too old to achieve what you really want to do. And Charlie, I think you're a good example of that. You do a lot of things that other people probably don't think they can do.
I climbed a 20-foot ladder the other day, and I thought, boy, this is what usually old-timers do and kill themselves.
Oh, that's...
But
but ladders
I had no
scare me,
trouble.
Charlie. No, you should not be up on a ladder.
I'm not afraid of heights, but when you get 77 like I am, it's a little shaky.
That's not the type of thing that
Yeah.
you want to do.
That's the first quote I've agreed with this week, Marianne. I like that one. It's a good one.
You've been a contrarian this week.
No, I think I eat vegetables. No. Anyway, we're going to move on with the program, but that was just the first one that made good sense
It
to me.
says to you.
That one yesterday really stunk it up.
But Charlie liked it, didn't
Well,
he?
Yeah,
Charlie always
right.
agrees with you. He
Yeah.
never agrees with me. He's a contrarian.
Yeah, that's it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention, because now we're down to 4 days until the box pops. The box has been here since July, Charlie.
Yeah, it's getting kind of old. I bet it's getting dusty.
Dusty.
Yeah,
It
you
could be
ever-
a dusty ball guy.
You ought to come in here early before we do these programs and dust it off.
I think I might have
Make it
gotten
livable.
A little can of spray,
Yeah.
air spray. Yeah, take care of it. We are joined today, remember, October 31st, we'll open that box. We're joined today by a professor from the Ohio State University at Marion, Tracy Tilka. Tracy, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Such a young professor.
Oh.
Wow.
And attractive.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, it's hard to believe I've been at Marion for this is my 11th year.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it's really
You
hard.
look
to
like
believe.
you just graduated
No.
from high school.
Well, I appreciate it.
Now, Tracy,
Yes.
what do you teach at Marion?
I teach, along with general psychology, I teach a lot of the clinical and counseling classes like personality, intro to counseling psychology, psychology of women, what else? Personality, right? Personality, positive psychology as well.
Now, what's your
Right.
expertise?
I do a lot of research on body image and eating behavior. Not just the negative. A lot of people think, oh, negative body image or eating disorders, but also what's positive? What do we strive towards? What does a positive body image look like, as well as what are healthy eating behaviors? You ask people that, and they give really diverse answers.
So, through your research
Yes.
for a number of years, what is a positive body image? I don't know if I've ever met anybody who is very few people are totally comfortable with themselves.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's, I think, a misperception. When you say positive body image, people think, oh, you have to love every aspect of your body, and yeah, you can never have a negative thought about your body, and that's not really the case. I mean, it's not realistic given the media that we're in, the society that we're in, constantly surrounded by not only media pressures but interpersonal pressures to look certain ways. So, but it's in general, you accept yourself. You say, you know what, this is my body. I appreciate it. I'm going to treat it with respect. I'm not going to harm it and it could be really any assortment of things. Smoking, drinking, or it could be cosmetic surgery, or it could be lack of exercise and so forth. But it's about just appreciating and respecting your body for what it is, and not, just having the overall sense of feeling good in your own skin. But again, you don't have to like every aspect of your body.
Now, two buzzwords that I heard there, and I want to get your opinion on both of these. First one, exercise. Is that something people should do for a positive body image, or just be comfortable the way you are if you really don't want to do it?
Oh, I think that it's important to by exercise. I think a lot of people, once you say that, they're thinking, okay, 90 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, or doing hard cardio. It could be a leisurely walk. It could be just getting out and playing soccer with your kids. Just things like that to move. But it doesn't really have to be something that is agonizing for you. It should be pleasurable. And as long as you are healthy and you enjoy doing, pleasurable things, I think it would be, just fine. But I think, by shows like The Biggest Loser or other shows like that, they give the impression that you have to exercise all day for it to be effective, and it really isn't. The quickest way, I think, to get people not to exercise is to make it unpleasurable.
But it is important for health, is
Mhm.
it not? As well as proper sleep
Yes.
and proper eating
Yes.
habits
And
and
to
all
move.
those things.
And to move. As long as you are able to move. But yeah, I believe.
And walking is
Yes.
supposed to be the healthiest.
Yes, it is. And the exercise that people stick to.
Right.
You hear about all the exercise equipment that people buy, and in reality, they use them as coat hangers or
That's true. That is so true.
put them in their garage after they spend $3,000
Yeah.
on it.
That's every Christmas.
Yeah.
People get exercise equipment
Yeah.
and put it up for sale in the spring.
Yeah, exactly. So, but walking and just finding things that you like to do that are helpful, I think, and that sets a good example for kids too, that they can enjoy exercising without it being like viewed as exercise. Instead of viewing it as, okay, I got to burn the calories, view it as, okay, it feels good. I feel good after I take a walk with my dog or something.
I have never felt good before, during, or after exercise. Never. Never one time. It's not enjoyable. It's annoying. I think if the doctor prescribes it and they say you should do it because you need to get better, do it. But I wouldn't enjoy it. It would never be leisure time for me.
But didn't you say you like to walk?
Well, to get from here to there. I mean, I do. I think walking sometimes clears your mind, but I don't think it's fun. I mean, it's not like.
But you can enjoy nature.
Yes.
You can go out and see the beautiful
Park.
The world is beautiful, and walking, you can take in all the wonderful sights, the beautiful change in colors of the leaves, the snow and the ice.
This time of the year, too, the woolly bears are crossing the highway. You can look down and see their colors.
And you know what I love? I love every time I go someplace, there are squirrels just scampering all over the place. Have you noticed that? I know this is when they have to find their nuts and their seeds and everything to eat, but I just love to see those little squirrels just scamper all over. I talk to them when I pass them. Oh, little squirrels, they're so cute.
I passed one the other day and said, "Gee, guess what? I was talking to Mary Ann the other day."
But they're going to arrest both of you pretty soon with the nets. No, but you know what? Walking in and of itself, you take away all those things that you just mentioned. Go out and walk around January 20th in Ohio and see how much fun it is.
I did that once. I remember on one of the other programs I mentioned hiking 6 miles at 9 below zero
And it wasn't fun,
at the
was it?
Hocking Hills. Well, it was fun, yeah.
No, it was not fun. You did not like it.
I kept striving to get to the beans and ham area that was halfway.
Because you wanted to be done with the
And
walking.
then I was so cold that I ate the beans and burned my tongue.
What a story.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Cosmetic surgery was the other buzzword that I heard, because Mary Ann told me at one point, go ahead. No, Mary Ann said on one of these shows that she, if she could, would get cosmetic surgery.
I said if it didn't require surgery.
No,
You know something? I would love to get rid of this right here. My cheeks are all in. I don't like the look for that. I would love to be able to lift this. But you know something? I see in magazines pictures of these little kids. They have all of these horrible malformations. And I'm going to spend thousands of dollars to get my face lifted when those poor little children look the way they look. That would, my conscience would not allow it.
yeah. Well,
Sorry.
and
So no, I will not have plastic surgery, because to me, it is all about me. It's selfishness. And I would be haunted with all those faces of those little kids that have all of those malformations. I couldn't do
But
You know what's interesting about that? And I'll come in here
Yeah.
a second, Charlie. You know what's interesting about that is there are kids who don't have clothes, and we don't use that same philosophy about buying clothes. Kids don't have shoes. We buy shoes. You know, I don't know.
That is not the same thing.
Now, why? Ooh, the eyes came out there. Come on, Marianne. Why is that not the same
It
thing?
is not the same thing, because it is so expensive to have a cosmetic surgery.
Right.
And clothes are, you know, you just wear clothes. It's not anything.
Well, now wait a second, though. I think if you are in a third world country, you're not wearing clothes because that's what you prefer. You don't have them. I mean, Africa, certainly an example. They don't have a lot of things there, and we spend a lot of money on clothes here in this country. I don't think it's by choice. I don't know. Cosmetic surgery is a funny thing with me because I do believe if you want to get it, get it.
Well, I
The
know
only thing
people
is-
believe that.
okay, cosmetic surgery might make you look good for a few years, but what happens to your mind when you get to the point where plastic surgery would do you no good, and what you had is now worn off, and you're sagging and drooping? What good thoughts could you have?
Yeah, I think the expectation when you get cosmetic surgery is that you're going to, just fall into place for you. Everything's going to be perfect, and you're going to be loved and have all the esteem, and that doesn't typically work. And that's when you see people just kind of constantly repeat procedures that getting surgery after surgery.
And it looks so unnatural. I mean, you know, like Joan Rivers. I mean, she has all of those. I mean, you know, there's no expression in the face,
Right.
and it's just all. And she's had, I mean, so many.
Yeah, but
And you know, it would be nice to look different. You
but you know, Mary, have you ever seen the documentary just came out on her maybe 1 year ago, 2 years ago? The Joan Rivers documentary. Brilliant documentary. Because in that, she talks a lot about plastic surgery. And she says, it's a good one. You ought to see it. She says, I was never, no man, she starts out the movie saying, no man has ever said you're beautiful. And she was never picked first for dances. She was never the cute one. She was never the twinkle, whatever they call them. And she's on a talk show at one point, minimizing this whole long documentary. But she's on a talk show at one point. She's talking to one of these famous radio psychiatrists. And the psychiatrist says, but don't you want to be loved for your mind and your personality? And she says, I just want to be loved. Now, if you may think she looks like strange, out of place. Charlie might, I might, Tracy might, but Joan doesn't care, and apparently it makes her feel better.
Well, and I say that that's fine. I mean, if anybody wants to have that done, I think it's fine. I'm not criticizing that. But I'm just saying that I cannot do it. I just couldn't do it.
Well, that's okay, but I think it does change you psychologically
Well, it does.
as a person.
I think
I mean-
probably it does. And what do your students say about that?
Oh, well, I kind of probably influenced them somewhat by talking about it. But no. I think that several have mentioned, like, well, what about reconstructive surgery? And I'm like, that's totally
Oh,
different.
that's different. You know, if something happens
yes.
to your nose or
breast, yeah.
right, and you have to
exactly.
right.
Right. And sometimes with weight loss surgery, weight loss, then the skin sagging, some people have that. And I'm not evilizing it by any means. Cosmetic surgery, I think it is the person's choice.
I think so too.
But I think with a positive body image, you don't feel the need to, you know, like, okay, in order to be better, I'm going to get this. You know, maybe if it's one or two small things, okay, but you don't expect to be different afterwards. Completely different.
Well, like,
Psychological.
I guess I'm coming back to Charlie here in a second, but I guess one thing that I would say is that in the field, particularly since we mentioned her by name, Joan Rivers, there is ageism. And the whole point of this movie really is that she never wants to stop working. She loves it. Matter of fact, she says if she has it in her will that if she can't get up and do 30 minutes on stage, pull the plug. She doesn't want to live vegetable like that. And it's a serious moment in the movie. Now, her business would turn her out because of her age and how she looked. So in that case, what do you feel on plastic surgery?
That's a great point. And I think that just, I mean, highlights all of how different things interact, especially like for women, ageism, sexism, obviously, and to be valued as a career woman, especially in the entertainment industry, you have to look the part, and that puts her in a situation that is really, really hard. And I mean, again, it's her choice to get that. But yeah, it just kind of shows how convoluted it is that those interact so much. But yeah, it's just really, it's really.
It's so prevalent in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But the other one, and I just recently talked about her, the woman who really put plastic surgery on the map was Phyllis Diller. And Phyllis Diller's, I don't think looks like a woman who's had plastic surgery. I mean, when you know her age, and then you see her, you say, well, that's, she's had some work done. But she doesn't look fake. She doesn't look fatigued. But she, I remember, told me one time, because do you remember a few years ago, somebody's mother died of plastic surgery, a celebrity's mother. I can't remember who that was. But the mother died.
Kanye West.
Kanye West's mother died under the knife. And Phyllis Diller went on to kind of undemonize it. It was more the surgeon and not the procedure. And I remember she told me that she had always played ugly because to most men in eyes she was an ugly lady. And that she had a crooked nose and she just did not look good. And she said people came to her when she got that first plastic surgery in the 70s and said, your career is over. Now that's the extreme opposite because she always played off the ugly. And now she was no longer an ugly woman.
She looked better ugly.
See, you're saying it. That was her
She
whole
did.
shtick.
So did
Carol Burnett?
Carol Burnett.
Yeah.
She changed her looks when she had her jaw. She changed entire personality and everything changed.
Yeah.
That's true, but you know what? If you met Phyllis Diller today and didn't know what she looked like 40 years ago, would you still have that same opinion? See, I think it's comfortability we get sometimes when people change their look.
I think, again, it gets right back to the person, and I would not criticize somebody who has, it's just, you asked me if I would, and I couldn't do it. But I wouldn't certainly criticize anybody who does.
Right. Yeah.
Now, your students are,
Yep.
what you teach, is that part of an overall education? I mean, I never went to college, so I don't understand everything.
No, okay.
We never had courses like that when I went to college.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fairly new, isn't it?
Yeah, well, in psychology of women, which will now be psych of gender once we transition to semesters, we go over a lot of the dynamics involved and just the appearance expectations, especially for women placed in in the entertainment industry, in the media, and so in the classes I teach that and I actually taught an eating behavior body image class as a special topics class 3 years ago.
But it is important to look good. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is, because people who look good are usually hired quicker
Yeah,
than
there's a
anybody
lot of-
else, and there's so much emphasis in our society on looks. There
Yeah.
really is, and it is important. And those people who are born with wonderful genetics are very, very fortunate. And then there are others who.
They get a lot of breaks.
Right.
However, it's interesting, like research, yes, you're right in terms of like if you're consistent with societal views of attractiveness, you will get the breaks. However, those people who try to pursue those, like try to be more beautiful than they are, they actually have lower psychological well-being, less life
Really?
satisfaction, less self-esteem, and so forth. So they're actually better off accepting themselves for who they are and trying to live a healthy lifestyle. Sure, take care of yourself, and if certain things make you look better, then yeah, by all means. But when it comes down to changing yourself and who you are. Um, you know, there's a lot of difference between a little change, you know, just to maybe reverse you back 5 years versus a total makeover to where you look completely different.
What was the name of that Dr. Scott that we had, that woman that said that she could do it
With
in
freezing.
freezing?
Yeah. Mary Beth Mudd.
Yeah, and she said she could do it without surgery. Now, I would be interested in that. That would
See,
be,
so again, but that's augmentation,
that is
Marianne.
augmentation, I know.
You know something, I thought something very apt was said on this show a few weeks ago by Claire Cook when she was here, being in the theater background. And I should mention Martha Dowse is not here this week. But she said it about Martha, and Martha's ill this week, but she's getting better. I talked to her before I came in today. And Claire said this, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Because when you see Martha, and Martha knows it, Martha wears the sequins, she wears the boas, she wears the rhinestone glasses, she has a crown on sometimes. And I remember Claire said, she was looking at Martha, and she said, theater and life in general are all about being comfortable in your own skin. And who is more comfortable in their own skin than Martha? And I thought that was a great thing she said, Charlie.
Yeah,
I thought it hit the nail right on the head. I thought that's exactly why she does that. Martha is comfortable. Isn't that what we all strive to be?
Yes, and actually it's interesting you mentioned that, because that's one of the characteristics of positive body image, that even if you aren't like fitting media standards of that, you are so comfortable in your skin, you almost emit this presence, this glow, that people just, they're attracted to you, not because of what you really look like, but just because you're so comfortable with your skin. It's authenticity. People like that.
You've been a wonderful guest, and you will have to come back. Hope you've enjoyed it.
I will.
We'll be back
If you'll have me.
we'll be back for Friday's program. Thank you.